Hello, everybody, and welcome to Gauntlet Community Open Gaming for Summer 2021. My name is Mike, and I will be the GM for 10 Million Hit Point Planet. 10 Million Hit Point Planet is an action adventure role-playing game written by Liam Ginty and published by Sandy Pug Games. As I've previously told my players, this is the first time I've ever played this game, so this is going to be a learning experience for all of us. Let me just say a couple of words about myself. My name's Mike Ferdinando. I've been playing role-playing games since the early 1980s. A lot of D&D, a lot of Champions, a lot of GURPS. Back in 2015, I joined a friend's game that was running this new weird game called Dungeon World that broke my brain in a very good way. And I've been primarily playing story games and indie games ever since then. I joined the Gauntlet in 2018 as a player, and I started GMing fairly extensively about a year ago, year and a half ago. It's the plague year, time has no meaning. This is the third Gauntlet community open gaming event that I've GM'd a few games for. So I'm really looking forward to this. Why don't we go around the table? Let's go in clockwise order as I see you on my screen. So Diana, would you say a few words about yourself?
Hi, yeah, I'm Diana. I'm actually pretty new to tabletop role-playing games. I had played like a little bit of D&D and Call of Cthulhu in college, and it didn't really hook me then. But then like I found like Honey Heist, and I'm like, this is amazing. and yeah, so I've been kind of wandering through the indie scene since then, trying to rope all of my friends into playing with me, but you know, coordination is hard. And so I found the Gauntlet, and this is actually the second Gauntlet game I have ever played. So,
well, fantastic and welcome. Glad you could join us. Michael, would you say a few words about yourself?
I'll just check and make sure I was only the second Michael here. Can't go into any gathering in our generation without like having multiple Michaels. So two is actually the fewest.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. So it's good. I guess you can just call me Michael by default, since that's apparently what I wrote in my screen. So yeah, Michael, that's my name. He, him. What else? Been in the Gauntlet for a while. How long? Probably, at least 3-4 years. I can't remember how many years. But it's a while. Yeah, I guess my Twitter handle is mmdozer, and that's about all I have to say, I guess.
Again, welcome. Jim, would you introduce yourself?
Hey, yeah, I'm Jim Crocker. I generally use he, him pronouns, but if you're using they, them more generically, that's totally fine with me too. I have been running and playing a whole lot on the Gauntlet for, I guess, about 3 years at this point. Michael is one of the people that I've played with a whole bunch, and I think like maybe probably in some of my earliest games and stuff. He and I have played a whole lot of superhero games together, so I am very confident that we're going to have a good time doing this. I've known Geoff for many years as well. He and I are friends from outside the Gauntlet, kind of in IRL. We were just gaming together last night, so it's neat to be in. And Mike, I've played a bunch with you. Diana, it's wonderful to meet you. I love playing with new people, so that's fantastic too. And I'm really looking forward to this. I have helped kind of organize some of these GCOG events. I'm on the help desk this time around just to kind of keep an eye on that and help people out as we need to. I owned a game store for many years. I've been a gamer since I was like 11 or 12 years old, kind of certified grognard, back to the Holmes basic D&D box set days. And have played tons and tons of games, a lot of trad stuff, indie stuff. Was lucky enough for many years to live in Northampton, Mass, which is kind of the hub of where a bunch of folks like Vincent Baker and Rob Bowl and Epi Ravachol and folks like those kind of all got together and kind of had a very fertile community in terms of designing games with each other and stuff like that. And so I was kind of, on the periphery of that in a lot of ways, and so have, been lucky enough to be there through a whole lot of the development of all the indie game stuff. So I'm really just immensely looking forward to this. This seems like it is going to be a whole ton of fun. And so, I'm also running a couple of games this time at GCOG. We'll be playing our Batman Final Girl game this evening. So should be a lot of fun. I really enjoy these things every time we have.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jim. Yeah, my start wasn't the Holmes basic set. My start was the Moldve basic set. So anyway, Geoff, would you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hey, everybody. My name's Geoff Hunt. I use he, him pronouns, but like Jim said, they, them is fine if you're using generics. I've been gaming for a long time, since the early 80s, but this is my very first Gauntlet game. So thanks for facilitating all of that. As Jim mentioned, we've been gaming on and off since the 90s together. And as he said last night, we're working on a sort of PBTA-ish game that's superhero inspired. But other than that, I don't have anything to plug. Just super excited to get in on this.
Well, fantastic. Welcome, everyone. Let's talk a little bit about this game. So this is 10 million hit point planet. Do a quick, cats discussion on this. So the concept of this game is the player characters are like basically super powered beings, whether they are superheroes or like wizards of like vast mystical power, or like commanders of some kind of like space fleet. Anyway, you are some kind of extremely powerful heroes, and you are literally fighting a literal evil planet. So as I have said, this is a game where where the heroes are literally punching a planet into submission. It's inspired by the Marvel Comics character Ego the Living Planet. And I'm not very big into Marvel Comics lore, but if you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, that's Ego the Living Planet. So that's the high concept of this game. Both very high scale and also pretty straightforward. And so the aim of this game is to tell an epic comic book style story about a battle of a lifetime. This game is played in 3 phases. There's the beatdown phase, where you're going to be actually fighting the planet. There's going to be a downtime phase where the characters interact with each other, possibly to set things up for later, or to like investigate what might be happening. And there's also a third phase, which is called Ghosts of the Past, which is basically a bunch of flashback scenes where we go back in time and we look at what were the events that led to the planet becoming sentient and evil and wanting to kill everybody. And it may very well turn in, and so we'll be using those 2 story phases to figure out like why this happened, how it happened, and whether or not the player characters were responsible for this whole thing in the first place. The tone I am going to shoot for is sort of like action adventure. It's kind of silly in that we're fighting a literal evil sentient planet, so there's certainly going to be a certain amount of humor involved here, but it's also going to this is a game where the characters are going to be unleashing like terrible acts of cataclysmic destruction. And if we have decided that this planet had been inhabited and the planet has like killed its inhabitants, there may very well be there's going to be elements of tragedy. There's going to be elements of there may be some elements of suspense, and we'll kind of figure that out. Ideally, I'm going for like a PG-13 vibe. I don't want to go into like I don't want to really go into things that are too hard. So I want to try to keep this like light and fun, and maybe not think too hard about some of the implications about having to punch a planet into submission. And a little bit about the subject matter. Obviously, we're going to be dealing with like you're going to be, the heroes will be enacting like massive acts of just like planetary scale violence. But when we go to the downtime, and especially the Ghosts of the Past phase, we may be dealing with themes of loss, regret, revenge, and again, possibly some tragic things. So that's the concept. That's the cats, the concept, aim, tone, and subject matter of this game. Any questions moving forward? Okay. So I popped a copy of the Character Keeper into the chat window. If everyone could go there and hop over to the Safety and Resources tab on the Character Keeper, I'd like to take a few minutes to talk about emotional safety at the gaming table. So some of us know each other a little bit. Others know each other more than others, but for all intents and purposes, we're a bunch of strangers that have gotten together to play a game on the internet. Each of us individually is more important than this game we're playing. We're playing this game because the idea is to have fun with it. The problem with playing a role-playing game, when you're playing a character and you're like hopping between the point of view of your character and your real life, is you're often laying your emotions on the table. Each of us have a different set of life experiences, and what may be absolutely no big deal for you might be a big deal for me. And so we're going to be playing with a number of safety tools that are there to hopefully like mitigate mitigate stepping on an emotional landmine that we may or may not know is there. And if something does happen, we have some other tools that will hopefully mitigate the damage, allow us to back up, reframe, and then move forward to have fun. Because again, the purpose of this game is to have fun, and if anything happens in the game, and we don't want this game to make people uncomfortable in any way. So we've got 3 safety tools that we're going to be playing. The first deals with our own physical comfort, and that's called Open Door. Open Door means that we're all free to come and go as we please for this game. Anyone can call a break at any time. Anyone who feels that they need to step away for any reason can step away for any reason. If you decide that this game is just not for you, that is 100% fine. Just let us know that I'm not really enjoying this game. I think I'm going to take the rest of my day and sign out. Absolutely fine. Not every game is for everybody. This isn't exactly Open Door, but I'm just going to mention breaks. I'm planning to call a break basically at the top of every hour. I'll probably call either a 5 or a 10-minute break. We'll see what people feel like. I usually go for a 4-hour session. I usually call 5-minute breaks, a 5-minute break at the 1-hour mark, a 10-minute break at the 2-hour mark, another 5-minute break at the 3-hour mark, and then game over. Any questions about Open Door? The next tool the next tool I want to talk about is called the X card. The X card is a reactive safety tool. The X card is what you do if something in the game is making you uncomfortable. And the X card is a simple tool. You can say X card. The dice roller we're using has an X card button that you can click, and it's gonna throw a message on everybody's screen. We're all on camera, so you can make like an X symbol with your hands, or you can just say, "Hey, folks, we need to time out." When you invoke the X card, that is going to pause the game. Everyone's just going to pause. You need to let us know like what's going on in the game that's making you uncomfortable. You do not have to tell us why, but we do need to know what so that we can make changes. And then when you invoke the X card, that's going to pause it. We're going to have a little discussion to find out what we need to change in the game and how to move forward, whether that means we'll just kind of like fast forward past the scene, pick it up in the next scene, whether that means we need to rewind and replay the scene with a different element, or or just flat out wrap up the scene and move forward. We'll figure that out when it happens. You can use the X card for anything. If I've named an NPC that is the name of your, that is the name of the bully that used to beat you up when you're in 4th grade, and you hate that name, that's fine. We'll change the name. If there is like an out of character player behavior that is problematic, we'll discuss that and we'll call that out and we'll discuss that and we'll make changes. One other thing I do want to mention about the X card, if something was happening in the game and you made you feel a little, I don't know about that, but you decided to just go with it and push forward, and the same thing happens again, it is absolutely 100% okay to X card something that's repeated that you let slide the first time. So just because you let something slide the first time doesn't mean you have to let it slide the next time. Any questions about the X card? The third tool is a proactive tool called Lines and Veils. Lines and Veils is a tool we use to pull out specific subject matters that we either don't want to deal with or we want to deal with in very limited circumstances. So a line is a subject matter that simply will not appear in the game. If something's lined, we're not going to see it. A veil is not quite as severe. A veil means this is something that we may acknowledge happens in the game. We may find signs that it has happened in the world. There may be references to it, but it's not going to happen on camera, and it will certainly not happen to any of the player characters. On the Safety and Resources tab, we have a number of things that are frequently lined or veiled. I'd like to give everyone a few moments to look over the lines and veils, and please, please hit a check mark. Once those are done and we're set, I'm going to copy those off onto a stick note that I've got floating on the top of my screen so I never lose sight of it. I am going to pause the recording to give us all some time to figure that out. Okay, we're back. We've picked lines and veils. I've got them recorded. I do want to say one quick follow-up on lines and veils, and this is more about a personal failing, and that is, in our enthusiasm, if someone accidentally, like in the heat of the moment, takes their eyes off the lines and veils and violates one, really hope it doesn't happen. If it does, whoever notices, please immediately X card, and we'll pause and we'll back it up. I've done that as GM exactly once, and Jim was the one who noticed and objected, and yeah, we're only human. These tools are only as good as these tools are a good faith effort, and every once in a while, someone makes a mistake. So if someone does make a mistake, please whoever notices, please immediately X card, and we'll react and move on. This isn't exactly a safety tool, but one other thing I do want to mention is if for whatever reason, like I, the GM, either suddenly walk off camera and don't come back, or I freeze and don't come back, like for example, if I lost my internet connectivity or electricity or something like that. If I'm gone for 10 minutes and I don't contact you other way, assume the game is over, and take the rest of your day. I wish I could say that's never happened, but that's not true. I was it wasn't a Gauntlet Con, but a couple of years, but last year I was running a game at another convention, and we lost power and internet in my neighborhood, right as we got to Ring 5 of a Trophy Dark game. But yeah, I was but if that happens, if I'm gone for 10 minutes, assume the game is over and take the rest of your day back. Are there any other questions about safety tools? Okay, awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the game. So you want to hop over to the characters tab of the character keeper. Things are pretty nebulous in this game. Things are like generally pretty loosely defined. So in this game, like I believe I said earlier, this game basically has 3 phases. There's the beatdown phase where you are like literally fighting the planet. There's a downtime phase where you retreat from the fight. Maybe lick your wounds, maybe do some planning, have some non-combat character interactions with each other. There's also a Ghosts of the Past phase, which is a flashback where we go back in time to look at what were the events that led up to this planet turning evil and killing everybody. So again, we've said your character is basically your character is more or less like a cosmic level superhero. This is definitely comic book parlance, but with this, this could be a sci-fi story, this could be a fantasy story, but your character is your character is definitely much more like, say, Thor than say Daredevil. So your character does have does control some vast amount of power, but it's generally pretty open-ended on how you want to define it as pretty much however you want to. So pick your name, pick your pronouns. Let us know your character's power type, and if you want to hover over the notes tab, if you want to hover over the so the nature of the power, again, very broad strokes. Is it magic? Is it martial arts? Is it psychic? Do you have vast psychic power? Are you a gadgeteer that has like massive amounts of like gadgets and inventions at your disposal? Are you simply the smartest person in the universe? Figure out what your power type is. Your character also has a motivation, and this is a single word that describes, why are you fighting this planet? The examples from the game are, vengeance, ego, fury, domination. Next, you want to pick a power trigger. This one actually engages the mechanics. Your power trigger is something that you do that will basically draw more power to you. It's a way that you basically will energize your power source so you can do more powerful attacks in the future. The power sources are called red, green, and blue, so pick a color. I will say, just looking at the it's very abstract. Don't think too hard about it. In general, red powers are more about attacks, blue powers are more about defense, and green powers are more about other stuff.
So that was red was attack, blue was defense, and green was other stuff.
More or less, they're kind of nebulous. But once we get into abilities, actually, if you want to take a look, if you want to hop over onto the multipliers, tab, this talks about how your attacks work, and as you can see, when you look at the empowered multipliers, when you're spending power, red seems to be more or less about more or less about attacks. Blue is more or less about defense. Green is more or less about doing other things, but it's kind of nebulous, and they don't all necessarily line up in that regard. And we'll get into damage in a moment. It'd be probably best if we have at least one character that has. It'd probably be best that we have at least one character that has. We have each of the 3 power sources reflected in at least one of the characters. Your character will also have special abilities. You get one for free. That's that first one where under abilities it says select, and then you can unlock new abilities as time goes on. You can use that by spending your power. But under that abilities that select that first one, everyone gets one for free. That's you get one free ability to start that would normally cost like 5 power points or less to activate. As time goes on, you can spend like one of your possible actions is unlock a new ability or display a new ability. I forget exactly what it's called. When you take that action, you need to spend the amount of power that the ability shows when you go to select it. And when you pay that power is now in play for you. Some of your abilities require you to spend power to use, but some don't. And finally, there are items. Items come into play later on. We'll come up with those. Those are basically come up with during the downtime and or Ghosts of the Past phase. You don't start with an item. Items are ways that basically allow you to collect power more quickly. So once folks have made some choices, let me know when we're ready for basic setup, and then I'll talk a little bit about the combat rules of this game, because this game is primarily about the fighting. I love the names so far.
You mentioned martial arts as a potential power type. I don't think I could resist the chance to fight a planet with martial arts.
Yep. And yeah, this is a game where if you want to do these characters are like the pinnacle of superhero level. So if you want to throw around like way cool technobabble, that's awesome. There's actually there actually is an ability that you can unlock later called science, where if you explain something with the, I think it's like, if you explain something with the totally true and absolutely true and totally not made up technobabble, you get bonuses on your damage and your multipliers. While people are still figuring out their abilities, I'm going to just talk a little bit about how the game advances. Every time you inflict a certain amount of damage against the planet, you check a milestone. There's a damage inflicted button, and that's how we're going to be using to basically calculate the amount of damage your attack hit. It's going to have a running total. And then once we hit a milestone, the damage resets. We check the milestone. That indicates the end of the beat. And when we pass a milestone, that indicates the end of the beatdown phase. and we'll go into a downtime phase. And I'm trying to remember how we go to Ghosts of the Past. Yep, yeah, we go to a downtime phase. Once we hit a milestone, we go to a downtime phase. At the end of the downtime phase, we go to a Ghost of the Past phase. And in the Ghost of the Past phase, there's some big questions that I'll pose, characters will, the characters will like answer the questions by doing a short vignette in the past. Once the Ghosts of the Past, and that's also downtime in Ghosts of the Past is also where you can unlock items that you can use moving forward. Once those are done, we then return to the present for another beatdown phase. So, for example, once we hit the first 10,000 hit points, we check that milestone, and we then go into the story part of the game. You can hit the milestones in any order you like. But obviously inflicting 2 million hit points is probably going to be something that we do later in later phases once you've unlocked new abilities that allow you to do which allow you to use bigger and bigger damage multipliers.
Can you explain the power trigger again, please?
Sure. So the power trigger is basically when it's your turn and you do that, whenever you do that thing, you gain 1 power of your chosen color. So your power scores start at 0. You will, depending on the moves you make, and the moves are sometimes also, moves and triggers are kind of used interchangeably in these rules. Liam said that that's something he wants to go back on his next edition. He's going to go back and try to be a little more consistent in usage. But when you do the thing, when you do that thing, you gain 1 power of that choice. You can also choose other things to do, which will, if you look at looking again at the multipliers tab, if you do other stuff, that will also give you bonus dice, and they may also give you additional power, as opposed to the empowered multipliers, which are generally give you more damage, but it costs power in order to invoke those. So, for example, if you wanted to verbally insult the planet as part of your attack, tell us, go ahead and tell us what the insult is, and you get an extra, you get a plus 1d6 bonus die, and you also gain a multiplier of ×2. You can hit multiple, you can do multiple triggers in your action. If the triggers do multiple multipliers, the multipliers are additive. So if you verbally insult the planet, and you also do a combo with your buddy, that's going to add plus 1d6 plus another d8 to your base damage as bonus damage, and that's also going to that's also a +2 plus a +4 modifier, which adds together to a ×6 multiplier. So you roll all your damage and then you multiply that by 6, and that's your damage. So the multipliers is how this things add up, and some of the more advanced moves that cost there's a couple of moves that I think cost 200 power points to unlock. But if you do the thing with that power, there's a ×10,000 multiplier. So so using those is basically how you're going to have to get that sort of thing in order to inflict the 5 million hit point to hit that final milestone.
Okay. Let me tell you one of the things that I think we might be having trouble with, Mike,
okay,
which is that I notice when Michael pops in the abilities, it's actually auto-populating the field for what they do. And I think that the coding, the rest of us, is not doing that.
You're right.
Oh,
It's
no.
not.
Or at least it's not in that top slot anyway.
You're right. You are correct.
The other
yep.
ones are actually showing up, but
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. I see what's going on. Yep. I see what happened. The formula didn't work. Hold on. I know how to fix that.
Okay,
and
cool.
This will just take me a moment.
Should each of us choose? Are we going to go ahead and each choose 5 abilities and 4 items, or
at this time, only pick the first one.
Okay.
The first one's free. Because it doesn't have a cost yet. So the first one is free.
And so should we choose 1 ability, 1 item, or just 1 ability?
Just 1 ability. The items will come later.
Okay. All right.
And let me fix the code here. That was a downside of me. Like I literally finished this half an hour before the game, and I didn't get to test it terribly well. And that's G.
Cool. Thanks.
And that's J. Just want to make sure that everything. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So the free ones, that's basically any ability that costs 5 points or less. You get 1 of those for free at start, and then as time goes on, you can unlock additional abilities, but you need to spend power in order to buy them. And then once you've bought them, they're there for you to use. I only put a total of 5 slots and abilities. I'm not entirely. I haven't played this game before, so I'm not entirely sure how many abilities characters are going to get. If we need to add more slots, we'll add more slots. And I also will apologize in advance for any spelling or transcription errors I made while copying things over from the rules. And when folks have more or less when folks feel pretty comfortable with their choices, signal that we're ready to move on. And just to make sure, yeah, I was going to say, yeah, when you're ready, if you could just pop an OK or all set or something in the chat window, and then once we're ready, we'll figure a little bit about. We'll do a little bit of fiction setting, and then we'll probably and then we're getting close to the top of the hour, so we'll probably call a 5-minute break after that.
You know, I'm very intrigued by the I'm an asshole ability, but I'm trying to think of what actions I could do that would go directly against the pleas and requests of everyone else in the party.
Well, if you take that, then you're telling us that you want us to argue with you about what you're going to do, and then you want to just do something different. Yeah.
Exactly.
Again, no, you know what? I want to suplex a planet. I'm sticking with I'll stick with suplex. I mean, awesome. There's good choices all around, right?
Yeah, and there's even when you the other abilities to unlock, you can certainly unlock All of the basic abilities are there. You could unlock those. It's just that the really powerful ones cost a lot of power in order to unlock. So you're probably not going to be unlocking the really powerful ones until later phases in the game. Once you've added items, because items increase how much power you're going to be gaining when you do moves. Are we more or less set here, or does people need a few more minutes to get things going? And if we need to make changes during the game, we certainly can.
Yeah, I think I'm set.
Okay, awesome. So it looks like we have our cast of characters. Oh, this is fantastic. Why don't we go ahead and introduce our characters real quick, and then we'll talk a little bit about the planet itself and set a little bit of fiction, so we can get going, and then we'll call a break, and then we'll come back and we'll start with the first beatdown phase. So let's go left to right in character keeper order. So Michael, would you tell us about Titanicus Rex?
Right. So I envisioned this character as kind of like a maybe like a like a martial artist on a galactic scale, or with a little bit of like pro wrestling vibe thrown in. His main motivation is basically to be the greatest warrior in existence, and the best way to do that would be a chance for killing a planet would be seems to be the most appealing way to. You know what? Maybe I will go back to I'm an asshole, because I'm thinking this is someone who's in the fight strictly for ego and personal, not even achievement, but personal actualization. Yes, and if he has to slaughter cajillions to do that, because I don't remember anything in the rules saying that we had to save the people living on the planet, if there's anyone still living on the planet, but we'll find out about that, I guess. That is what the Rex is here for, and please include the at all times. His power trigger, of course, being a true martial artist in the cinematic sense, is to reflect on the teachings of his deceased teacher, and I can only assume that I was responsible for the death somehow, and that teacher totally had it coming. Yeah, that's basically this character's gist.
Fantastic, I love it. Jim, would you tell us about Overwatcher Zaxax?
Could I just ask one question of Michael? I just wanted to make sure, like, the pronouns say they for.
Oh yeah, and I've already breaking it, aren't I?
Oh, I just wanted to make sure that I knew which the correct pronouns to use.
No, that's yeah, which means I need to know. You know what? Let's.
He sounds like a dude.
Yeah, I was about to say he totally closes. He totally closes the dick. So
like
let's go ahead
the
and make it
dudest
official.
of dudes. Yeah.
So there it is.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Overwatcher Zaxaz is the last surviving member of their race. They are an Overwatcher, which means that they are part of the Cosmic Overwatch. They protect the Cosmic Heart as that is their remit. They're basically like a kind of galaxy-spanning organization of space cops that go around dealing with potential threats to the Cosmic Heart. And so we are able to channel the lifeblood of the cosmos to create psychoplasmic hyperconstructs in order to help defend the Cosmic Heart. Unfortunately, I was away on a mission for the Overwatch when my planet succumbed to sentience and killed everyone on the planet, and I was not there to help stop it. Might be a little bit of revenge, might be a little bit of wanting to, prevent Earth, everyone on Earth from suffering the same fate. It's a complicated mix. They're a complicated being. They've been through a lot. So Yeah, and my power trigger is invoking the cosmic code. So my powers only work when there's a violation of the cosmic code in progress. So, but we all know what that is, and we can sense when the cosmic code is being violated. And, you know, certainly a planet coming to life in defiance of, you know, all that is good and right with the heart of the universe is a massive violation of the cosmic code. And our powers ramp up in, you know, proportion to how egregious this violation of the cosmic code is. So I'm basically a space cop. I mean, it's, you know, it's Green Lantern, but, you know, we all.
I was going to say, I'm getting really strong Green Lantern vibes from that.
Yes, yeah, that's basically what's going on. So yeah. Although maybe I'm more Abin Sur than Hal Jordan, but yeah. So, but yeah, like you know, Kirby Cosmic Space Cop is what I've got in mind here.
That seems entirely appropriate, especially if you look at the cover art of this game.
Yeah, and I took for my first ability, I took Impossible Geometries. When your action invokes a shape that cannot exist in conventional 3D space and could only be drawn by Jack Kirby, add a ×5 multiplier. So yeah.
Fantastic. I love it. That seems entirely appropriate. Very cool. Geoff, would you tell us about...
Before Geoff continues, I would like to address Diana's question again. I just rechecked the lines and veils, and I see that male chauvinism is a veil. So I changed my character's pronoun to they, just so I wouldn't be tempted to like go complete male dick in my role playing. So I just wanted to check that and make sure that still properly answers Diana's question.
Very cool.
Yep, yeah. I mean, we could also use them both interchangeably if we want that too. I just wanted to make sure that I was going to use the right pronouns.
Sure.
Very cool. I mean,
there it is.
I can see how you could be the dudiest of dudes, but you know, also not, and you know, and not be. You can be totally self-aggrandizing, but you know, you're not putting, you know, you're not putting down other genders.
Absolutely.
Very cool. Awesome. Let me go back to character.
Thanks, Geoff. Sorry.
Yeah, Geoff, would you tell us about Equilibrium?
Sure. Equilibrium, you could sort of think of Doctor Strange with the serial numbers filed off. So obviously magic. He serves the system of balance. This is actually not his home universe. He is from a different universe, and he's here because the old Sorcerer Supreme was obliterated, potentially by this planet. Who knows? And his power trigger is to call on the mystic powers, similarly to Doctor Strange by the hoary hosts of Haggoth or whatever. Coincidentally, all of the great mystic powers names correspond to comic book creators in this universe. So by the crackling cuffs of Kirby or something like that. And his ability is trick shot. So you may see him firing an energy bolt around the moon so that it curves in such a way, and then it hits the planet from behind or something like that.
That's awesome.
I can go. So my character is Maven, with the subtitle Techno Wizard of the Wastes, pronoun she, her. Her power type is sort of machines, technology, probably technopathy as well, just to make this more super powery. And her motivation is obsession, which I'm thinking is kind of like, she's like obsessed with machines and and also the creation and operation of them. And so probably the planet has like resources that she wants to obtain and is obsessed with it because it might, to go like full superhero, it's the only place in the universe you can get unobtainium or something like that. And so, and yeah, so her power trigger is solving a problem using technology, and her ability is no gods, no masters. When you create or destroy energy, add a 3 times multiplier. So somehow she is going to both create and destroy energy at some point during this game.
Fantastic. Okay, it's so I think this is a great cast of characters. It's just a couple of minutes after 10 Eastern time. So why don't let's call a 5-minute break. When we come back, we'll do a little tiny bit of world building to figure out like what the name of this planet is, and like what has happened here that has caused you to want to fight this planet to the death, and then we'll start the beatdown phase. So I've got now 3 after. So why don't we come back at 8 minutes after? And we're back. So I guess I want to talk a little bit. So before we do the world building, I just want to talk a little bit more about the rules when we do the beatdown. So when your character attacks the planet, I'm sorry, it's not the rules tab, it's the multipliers tab. I should probably call that the rule. So when you attack the planet, your base damage is 5d6. This game has exploding 6s in a in kind of a unique way that I've not seen before. So on your base attack, when you any 6 that comes up, you re-roll and add that again to the total. If that bonus die also comes up as a 6, roll 2 more dice and add that as bonus damage. If both of those bonus dice come up as a 6, add 4, like roll 4 more and add those. If all 4 come up as 6s, roll 8 more, etc., etc. We'll probably want to be doing the base damage separate from the bonus damage, at least for start, because your bonus dice don't explode in the same way. Although there's an advancement you can take that will either cause that can cause 5s to explode as well as 6s, and also that can cause all of your dice to explode in that regard. I'm not 100% sure how this is going to work in play. This may be like more bookkeeping than is needed, and if we want to we may end up just switching that back to just straight up exploding 6s, where any 6 that comes up, re-roll it and add. We'll see how that plays out. One other thing that comes into play is mooks. You've got people who are loyal to. You've got normal trained agents, etc., that are on the planet, that are also kind of helping you. If you spend power on mooks, for every point of power you spend on them, they'll do like 1 point of damage in addition to your normal. In addition to your like whatever your damage is. Basically, it's just an addition. So those extra points will get multiplied on the multiplier. So if you spend, so if at one point you spend, 10 points on mooks as part of your action, you do your damage dice plus 10 more points, and then those extra 10 points are added into like however many multipliers you are. So that's how you can use mooks of some port. That's how you can use your your intergalactic space rangers that are on the planet, or your the refugees from your school of wizardry, or your demons that you summoned from the when you summon demons from the nether planes, and they're helping out too. Okay, let's figure out a little bit about this planet. So first of all, what is this planet? What do we want to call this planet? And also, Jim, I know you said as part of your backstory, it might be cool if this was your planet's homeworld that's turned evil. If that's cool with everyone.
No, that's not what I said. What I said was that I'm the last survivor of a planet that's already been through this process.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood.
Yes, yep. So I am here on this planet, on planet X, whatever that we're going to call it. So yeah.
Got it. I misunderstood.
Yep. No. Last survivor of a dead planet, that is, or whatever, a planet that was scoured of life because it came to life.
Got it. Okay, cool. So are people, I guess some questions are, is this a planet you're from? Is this, or is this a planet from, at least one of you are from, or is this just some other planet that's become, or is this some other planet in that's become a threat? We basically we need to know a little bit about what's the name of this planet, and what are the circumstances under which you have become aware of this evil sentient planet? And we can toss around some ideas until we land on one that we all like.
Yeah, sorry, Dan.
Oh yeah, no, I was just going to say that I think, I think I mentioned in my character's backstory that there's probably some kind of rare metal type thing on this planet that my character really wants to get her hands on, but that the planet is obviously fighting back in some way, and she's convinced that the only way to get it is to destroy the planet. To basically, it's the easiest way to mine the resources is to explode it and then to gather it up in space or something, possibly. So that's at least one idea for the world building of this planet.
Reminds me of the old Sinistar video game. I just wanted to say that I just changed my character's name to Champion X. So the name Titanicus Rex is up for grabs, just in case. But anyway.
Well,
very cool.
Going off of what Maven was saying, there's some precious metal here. I mean, something on the lines of unobtainious, or something like that might make sense.
I have an idea that I'll toss on the table to see if people like. Maybe this resource is something that just sometimes spontaneously, I don't know, through mystical radioactive decay or something like that. Maybe this is something that appears on planets from time to time, and it's really, really rare, but it also has problems. It can cause the planet to gain sentience and do stuff.
Oh, sure.
Or working with Jim's idea that it was a piece of his old planet, and that has now infected this new planet.
Oh, I like that. That's pretty
cool. I love
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
When your planet,
that's awesome.
I love it. When your planet exploded, it's kind of like kryptonite. When your planet exploded, pieces of it blasted off into the universe, and when they land on just the right or just the wrong kind of planet, it can cause the same thing to happen.
Yeah, that's super sweet. That's very cool.
Anyone have any cool ideas for what the name of this planet is?
Do we maybe go? Do we give it maybe even a simple functional name like the host? Excuse me, or do we want to give it a full name of its own?
Like a full name, I don't know, Zargox 5. I don't want to use Zargox because that's too close to Zaxaz.
Zaxaz, it is, yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking something comic book related, like Sienkiewicz or something.
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, give it a
an homage name.
Kirby.
What do we
So call it something like, Sienkiewicz 7 or Ditko 9 or something like that.
Yeah, I like Ditko 9. That's cool.
Down with Ditko 9.
That totally works.
Yeah, part of me is like now wondering like what this planet was like before it got infected, and like what kind of remnants can we see on it.
Oh, we've got those flashback scenes.
It's
we-
true.
Exactly.
We don't have to.
Yeah,
We don't have
can
to figure that out now. I
Yeah.
mean, we can.
It's true.
I mean, I wanted to do a little bit I wanted to do a little bit of world building to find out, like, was this planet, had this planet been inhabited, and when the planet gained sentience, did it like wipe out all the life? That is, normally that would give us a good motivation to why this planet's a dick and why we have to beat it up.
One thing I would like for this planet to have would be something along the lines of like ley lines to explain why. Basically, it'll be like a planetary life force that Champion X would be able to read like chi points, and that would explain how his martial arts can affect the planet in the first place. That could be a product of the infective ore.
I would very much like it if, rather than everyone being slaughtered, we've got like a Battlestar Galactica type situation where there's like this huge diaspora fleet, and like everybody that got off the planet could, and they're out there in space counting on us to fix it. And maybe, and we got to find out whether that's possible. Maybe it's just not possible, and everybody's going to watch from orbit while we murder their planet because we had no other choice. Or maybe we come up with some way to solve the problem. But I'm sure a lot of people died in the disaster, but I do want there to be survivors to witness what we're doing. That's also a cool way to bring minions in if we can have, people, whatever, like the fleet that's in their solar system or something like that. We can call on them to drop in to help us out if we need to. Does that make sense?
It also gives Champion X an opportunity to ignore orders to not destroy the bystanders in the way that in the midst of combat.
So are these people Ditkoans? Ditkoids?
Ditkoids is a little close to
Dickheads? No.
Ditconians?
Ditconians. Ditconians is perfect. Yes. I think Ditconians is, yes. Yeah.
I was going to say maybe we should just call them objectivists based on what I know of Steve Ditko.
A is A.
Yeah, can we also say that none of them have faces? That's just like a feature of the diaspora fleet.
Sure.
Do we want to name what this infective ore is called? Or do we want to figure that out in play?
We want to figure that out in play.
Awesome.
We may have just discovered that it's even a thing that can spread to other planets. We may have just discovered that.
Okay. All right. So there has been a planetary catastrophe on the planet Ditko 9. Somehow, for some reason, the planet has gained sentience and has declared war on its inhabitants. A giant, like its oceans formed into a giant fist, which smashed into the coastal cities. Volcanoes spontaneously erupted, spewing magma and ash over vast areas. The Ditconians, the Draconians very quickly assembled very quickly called their space fleet, and evacuated as many of the inhabitants as could leave planet, leaving only very few people, very few unfortunates still on the planet, and they're nearby. And and our heroes have assembled to do what they can to beat this planet, beat this jerk of a planet into submission. So why don't we set the scene? I think you all have landed on this planet. You are in the smoldering ruins of the former capital city. Much of it is in ruins due to a massive earthquake that surprised everyone, because earthquakes don't normally happen in this particular part of the world. But most of the city is in ruins. There are a few survivors scattered about, but it's mostly your scene. And I'm going to say, once you have assembled on this former streets, the ground, the planet seems to sense your presence, and the ground starts shaking, and comic book earthquake, like a fissure opens up and a big chunk of the earth rises up. And Champion X, what do you do?
All right, I invoke intergalactic rate of first strike, and prepare to actually, we say that on maybe as we were approaching orbit, I was busy trying to actually, no, I'm the first thing he does actually would be to just touch the ground and just try to sense the energy lines of the planet, just to get a sense of how close the nearest nexus point would be.
Okay. I'm going to say, so you're trying to sense the mystical ley lines on this planet.
No, I don't know if I could really do that. That's just like flavor text at this point.
I was going to say, is that something Champion X would be able to do? In which case, we might call. So you're trying to sense for the ley lines.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I don't know if there's even an actual power in the rules that approximates that. So I might just go for the first strike and then try to develop that ability normally. Am I correct in assuming that as we do get to gain additional powers as the fight progresses?
Yeah. As the fight progresses, as you gain power. If you're going to attack the planet, the way that works is basically describe what you want to do. Hit as many multipliers as you want that we can make sense of in the fiction. And we'll basically gather a dice pool. We'll throw your base attack, and then we'll throw the bonus dice, and then we'll put that damage into the damage inflicted tab.
Cool. In that case, I'll go to my original action of invoking galactic rate to first, as in the Ways of Old, to claim first strike, and basically demand that everyone wait until my combat with Ditko 9 is finished before you make your moves, because it would be, of course, dishonorable for us to gang up on it.
Got it. So that is reflecting on teachings of your. That's reflecting on on your teachings.
Yeah, I guess it would, wouldn't it?
Okay. So cool. That means you're going to. Okay, so that means you will. So you're going to gain 1 red. Looking at the multipliers,
invoking your history.
Are you in? I think you're perhaps invoking your history.
Yes.
Okay. So that's going to be. So that's another. So that's going to be. So you're going to gain a blue and also ×2 multiplier. And I believe you are striking the planet.
Yes.
Okay. So that's going to be another
5d6, right?
Yeah. So you start with 5d6. So let's. So that's going to be 5d6. You've got a d6 plus a d8 bonus die.
right,
You're
'cause
going to
I looked
gain
like
2 red and 1 blue power. So go ahead and let's do the power first. So go ahead and add 2 red and 1 blue power.
Okay, and how do I select powers by color? How does that work exactly?
Oh, again, this is so your power color was red. So when you're
Mhm.
reflecting on the teacher on the teachings of your dead teacher, you gain 1 red. And looking at the multipliers, if you're the standard multipliers, when you do these things, you just gain more powers of those of the indicated color. Later, when you want to use an empowered multiplier, you can spend those to get even more of those, get even
Oh,
more bonuses.
okay. So I'm not actually like choosing a new power, a new ability to add at this point. Is that right?
No,
Or-
we're not. No, you're not choosing new abilities yet. You're just like
Okay.
you're gaining powers of the
Collecting
various
points.
colors that you
Oh,
could
that's-
conceivably use in the future.
I'm seeing where we're supposed to put that now. Okay. So and please pardon me while I catch
Nope,
up. I've
that's okay.
added a blue power. I've added a red power. Got that right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay,
So you've got
so-
2 red. Yeah, you're adding 2 red and 1 blue. So
2
change. So
Okay.
so if you can hop over to your dice to the dice roller.
Oh, that's
Let's
right.
start with your base attack. So that's going to be 5d6. So I'd probably just use the quick roll and just do just write, just type 5d6.
Yeah, let me just head over to that page now. And you said
And it's linked right at the top with the roll with me dice roller.
yes. So I am all right. So I'm adding 5d6.
Yep.
All right. 5d6 plus 1d6.
Let's
Or-
just start with the base, because the base
Oh, I'm
attack
sorry.
has exploding 6s. So let's figure that first, and then we'll add the bonus dice afterward, and we'll just add it all up.
And there it is. 2 6s.
Nice. Okay, so that's going to be 23, 2 6s. So roll another 2d6.
All right. Another plus 6.
Okay, that's going to be okay. So I'm gonna hop over to the damage inflicted tab, and so I'm gonna do an equals 23 plus 6 plus. So now roll. So your special moves were additional bonus dice. So that's going to be another 1d6 plus 1d8.
Oh, I got a 6 on the wrong die.
Okay, and that's going to be another 11. And that is going to, and we have, I believe, times, God, this is so much bookkeeping. And this is going to be a times 4 multiplier. So your first attack did 73 points of damage.
Woo-hoo.
Wait, is that right? Hold on, that isn't right. There we go. Your first attack did 160 points of damage.
I'm going to say you can't possibly get a number that ends in 3 when you multiply by 4. So
Yep.
that's, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that was only multiplying by, yeah, I forgot to put parentheses. Order of operations. Okay, so what does that, what does this strike against the planet look like?
I think he just like leaps up in the air and just does a ground pounding kind of like Iron Man landing after a flight kind of move.
Fantastic. I need to invoke open door. I'll be back in like a minute and a half. I'll be right back.
Completely ridiculous, like over the top, like a trick shot from above.
Yeah.
Buddy strike kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry about having to step out. So yeah, this game is all about like adding up the multipliers, because they all add together.
Yep. They all stack.
They all stack. So if you want to throw basically as many combos as you possibly can in your action. Basically whatever as many as you can that makes sense in the fiction, and the idea is to be like as ridiculous and as over the top as you possibly can. This is a Jack Kirby comic. Let's continue in order, in character keeper order. So Overwatcher Zach says, what are you doing?
The cosmic energies of the lifeblood of the universe flow around me, and I kind of do one of these, and like blood, like a blue-green blood coagulating out of my hand, like a staff, kind of like sort of, like kind of bulbous at both ends, glowing blue-green at one end, comes out, and I say, with this cosmic rod, I will strike at your very heart. Equilibrium, my friend. Channel these energies into the very heart of this beast. And kind of rise up into the air, and then come down, planting the staff there, and we can see where Champion X punched into the planet, and like the cracks that he made, now there's like, we can see like my power kind of ripples down through that and everything. And so Equilibrium, if you can kind of help me channel my energy down into the, kind of like shoot down like that. So I think what I'm doing here is, let's see. I think I'm striking the planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am consulting a relic of my power source, which is my cosmic rod. I'm comboing with a buddy. And I am I'm attacking from within the planet, from its heart, lifeblood there.
And were you invoking the cosmic code? Were you invoking the cosmic code?
I was totally invoking the cosmic code. So,
and I believe you were also using a tool because you were using your rod.
Yes, yeah, sure, that makes sense. Yeah. If I can double dip, what am I saying? I was about to say, well, if I can double dip on that, of course I can double dip on that. That's the whole point of the game. Yes, absolutely. So I got that too. So I'm also using a tool, my cosmic rod.
Okay, so let's see. So let me look at your character here. So you are invoking the cosmic code. So you get one. So let's figure out how much power you're sure. Gaining first.
Yep.
So you got one blue for cosmic rod, another blue for invoking your power source, another blue from attacking from within the planet. So you're gaining 3 blue.
Mm-hmm.
You're striking the planet for a red.
Mm-hmm.
And you're
comboing with a buddy
you're comboing with a buddy and using a tool for 2 green. So I guess you're gaining like, what did we say? 3 blue, 2 red, and 2 green.
I've only got 1 red. Where'd the second red come from?
I might be looking at was I looking at the wrong? Oh yeah, I was looking at the wrong.
Yep.
I was looking at the wrong line.
I got 1, 2, 3 red, green, blue, right across the.
Yep. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So let's so on the dice roller, go ahead and roll your base attack. So that's going to be 5d6.
Cool.
No 6s, so it's going to be a base of 15. Let me put that in the damage calculator. And bonus dice, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 d8, and another d6. Another 23. Let me put that in damage inflicted. And let's figure out that multiplier. So I see 2, 5, 8, 12, 15. I got 17. Am I adding correctly?
That sounds right to me.
Okay. And why isn't it calculated? Oh, right, because I need to put an equal sign. There we are. Okay, so your attack did 646 points of damage.
Yeah, and I think what this looks like is, like I said, I kind of slam the staff in, and sort of equilibrium is making sure, is not so much like multiplying it or anything, but like kind of containing it within the planet so that it's not just, spewing out into space or, being wasted. He's helping channel it. And, and we can see that there's like flare-ups of that energy coming out of that crack that the Champion X where he hit it. Now it's kind of like starting to spew up out, and it maybe even looks like it's almost like it's that color, that kind of bluish purple color that my powers are, but it almost looks like it's like an arterial spurt of blood coming out of the planet's crust where I channeled that down in.
Awesome. Okay, equilibrium. What are you doing? You're muted.
Equilibrium flies up and it says, perfidious planet, face the fear or the fury of the faultless Frazetta, and fires a mystical bolt, actually not at the planet, but at Maven. Maven is riding a multi-legged vehicle, and it goes through the vehicle, and it's got all these legs, and it shoots through the legs into the planet, and which I think means verbal insult, strike the planet, combo with a buddy, strike from above. I think that's everything.
Awesome.
So,
The way I'm doing it, I'm what I'm doing on the how I'm doing this. Just to let you know from my end, I'm highlighting this. I'm highlighting the conditions that you're doing on the sheet, so I can keep track of which ones are in play.
Yep.
Awesome. So let's first of all figure out how much power you're going to gain from this action. You called on Mystic Powers, so you get a red. You insulted the planet, so that's another red. You strike the planet, so that's 3 red. You're comboing with your buddy for a green and striking from a bud for a 4th red. So you're going to gain 4 red and 1 green power. So go ahead and add that to your totals.
Okay.
Mike, I just did a quick tweak to your damage inflicted sheet.
Please.
So you can just put the base in there, put the multiplier, and then it will auto multiply it for you and then add it up top.
Oh, fantastic.
Rather than have to type the formula in every time, you just put the numbers in and it'll calculate it.
Nice. Thank you. So go ahead and roll your base damage. It's just going to be 5d6.
19, no 6s.
No 6s, so that's going to be 19. And let's see, your bonus dice are going to be 1d6, 1d8, 2d8, 2d6, and 2d8. And
17.
another 17. And oh right, best damage is
I
19,
think it's 10.
17. And the multiplier is what do we got? 2, 4, 8. I think I've got 10. Does that sound right to you?
That's what I got too.
So,
Okay, so
sorry, that was 2, 4.
looking at the multiplier. So verbally insult the planet for 2, strike the planet for another 2 is 4. Combo with your buddy is 4, which makes it an 8, and strike from above is another 2, which makes it a 10.
So I believe we have been counting the multipliers slightly wrong in that we're adding them together when we should be multiplying them. So
The rules specifically say you add the you add the multipliers.
Okay, I'm seeing it. Or sorry, I just got the rules and it says multipliers are multiplicative. It says on mine, meaning they stack. So, I mean, I'm okay with doing it, choosing one way and doing it that way, but I'm just like, I feel like if we're adding instead of multiplying, it'll it'll change the trajectory of this game.
We're not gonna get to 10 million if we're just adding them together.
Sorry, I'm just let me just set play. I just want to make sure we're doing this right.
Totally. I'm looking at the PDF. I don't know how much that's different. It's under making moves on the PDF for me.
Okay, so I'm looking at the printed document here. Multipliers, sometimes referred to triggers, are the main way you boost your damage. They add dice, allow you to multiply the final result for doing certain interesting things during your action. They range from tapping a resource, blah, blah, blah. It says here multipliers are additive, meaning a ×2 and a ×3 become ×5. And you can trigger as many of them as you like during your move.
Okay.
Your action having many multipliers is your action having as many multipliers is key to dealing meaningful amounts of damage to the evil planet.
Yeah. I guess it must have changed in the eventually at some point, but I don't know if
hold on, let me check.
We can choose one and then stick with it. That's fine.
Yeah, hold on. Let me
just adding.
Yeah, let me check the. Let me just check the. I do have the latest PDF. It's possible that got changed after it got printed.
Yeah. I'm on page 5. If that helps.
600 points per attack is going to take us a while to get to 10 million.
Yeah, you're probably right. Hold up, document. Okay. Making multipliers. I have version 5 of the rules here of the PDF. So that was on page 5?
Yes. It's under it's like the text you read is exactly the same, except for where it says multipliers are additive for you. It says multipliers are multiplicative for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Let's go with that, because that is indeed a change.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you are right. I think if they're additive, they're okay. Cool. So let's so let's see. That was instead of 10, that was going to be insult the planet, strike the planet.
I think it comes up to 32.
I think you're right. Okay, cool. Thanks for noticing. Awesome. Yeah, I'm not going to go back and retcon the first 2 attacks, but yeah, thanks. Yeah, thank you very much, Diana. That's definitely going to make this game go a lot faster. So I guess that comes to you. What is Maven doing?
Yeah. So to just like flash back like 5 seconds before Equilibrium takes a shot, she has like this pod that like lands on the planet, and then it like sort of unfolds into like the insectoid machine that is like encasing her, and she's sitting on the top of it, and she holds like she produces like a computer that that's like floating in front of her, and she lets out like a burst of energy that like spreads out across the entire surface of the planet, that then sort of like for a moment it like glows and shows off the ley lines that Champion X wanted to make use of, and then there's just like a small burst of energy that like then sort of like scanning the planet to get a sense of like basically what's going on there. And then I'm like, I feel like I should also do some sort of damage. And then I think after all that energy, that burst of energy, like then just sort of then gets redirected into the planet and then does some damage.
Okay. So you're clearly using technology. You're clearly solving a problem with technology.
Yes.
You know, the scan for ley lines, that sure as heck sounds to me like you're using a special move.
Yeah, sure.
Let's see. I think you're clearly using a tool. Any other multipliers that you think are in play here?
I think the energy is still striking the planet, so I'm gonna go with that as well.
Okay. And I think did you create energy in this?
I think I'll say I did. So
Okay.
That's another 3 times multiplier. Yeah.
Okay. So we got 1, 2. It looks like you gained 3 green power and 1 red power. Let's. I guess probably easiest if we figure out what your multiplier is going to be here. I'll put that into the calculator. Yeah. So it looks like 2, 2, 3, 3. So that's going to be equals 2 times 3 times 3. So yeah, go ahead. Let's roll your base damage to start. So that's going to be 5d6.
Yes, I did that. It is 13.
Okay.
And then
and then your bonus damage looks like that's going to be 1, 2, 2, another 2d8 and 1d6.
Okay, and that's 11.
That's going to be another 11. So that does another 432 points of damage. So the heroes have gone. The planet reacts. So the clouds in the sky roil and form, and they form into, so like off in the distance, the clouds form into like the shape of a giant eye that is looking down at you. and around this in like a circle around this giant eye, the clouds turn black, and there's this crackle of electricity, and lightning bolts just start zapping at the ground around you. No. This game doesn't have like a damage against the heroes mechanic, so it's pretty much just all fictional. So I'm going to say that all of you and your devices are like zapped with lightning bolts. I guess why don't we go back? Why don't we go back the other way across the character keeper order? So Maven, getting struck by lightning. How do you react, and what are your what's your reaction against the planet?
So I think she manages to summon from her machine like a lightning rod that like then draws the lightning to it and then sort of absorbs it into it. And then the like sort of insect mech that she's riding on then like basically jumps into the air and then shoots, like redirects the energy back straight into the planet as an attack from above. So, and she's like, you try to stop me, but you are doomed to fail. I am Maven, the techno wizard of the wastes, and I am here to get my bounty. And so she is verbally insulting the planet as well.
Got it. So it sounds like you are verbally insulting the planet, invoking your history, striking the planet. I think you survived a brutal strike.
Yes.
You're using a tool and you are striking from above. And you're also using technology.
Yeah. Yes.
So let's first figure out your power gain.
Yep.
So that's one green. That's green, one red, one blue, another red for 2 red, 3 red, 2 green. So I think it's 4 red, 2 green, 1 blue. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and mark that on your powers. Let's figure out the multiplier. 2, 2, 2. 3, 3, 2. 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2. 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2.
Okay. So my base damage is 9.
Okay, and your bonus damage is going to be 1, 2. Looks like your bonus damage is going to be 3d6 and 2d8.
Okay. All right, that's 31.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, that does that does like 5,700 points of damage.
Now we're cooking.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Yeah, that
500 and 600 at a time. We're never getting to 10 million. That was yeah.
Well, I was figuring that you will, once you start unlocking some of those higher special abilities that do like times 50 damage and times 100 damage, or
there's sure, yeah, okay.
There's one that's like 10 times 10,000 damage.
Oh wow, okay, yeah.
And when do we invest in this?
What's that?
When do we invest in those? When do we have a chance to buy those up?
Those happen to you can buy special powers. Well, at any time, one of the things you can do. There's an empowered multiplier. There's an empowered multiplier called a reveal a new ability. So when it's your turn, you can reveal a new ability, and you pay the power cost. And the power cost for those, it doesn't matter what color. So if you want to buy something that has a 16 power cost, it's a total of 16 of however many powers you've accumulated, and then you just have that ability from then on.
Thanks.
You can gain items during the downtime and goes to the past phase, and items more or less increase how much power you get from from the various triggers. Okay. Cool. So why don't we go? So we're going back the other way across character keeper order. So Equilibrium, what are you doing in reaction to getting zapped by the planet's lightning?
Well, not a thing, because I was flying, and so just say simpleton, simple planet. Your lightning is like nothing to me. And fly. I think there's been like a hole created, and I suspect into some kind of underground cave system. So I fly down into the planet, and proceed to sort of go like this, and there are mystical blades coming out from my hands, and by the unbreaking blades of Bendis, and just sort of slice a part of the planet off. And let's see what else. I'm starting from within. I've insulted. The special move is what? Is it just sort of flavor?
Yeah, that's like you're doing. Yeah, that's like you name. You're doing something. You're doing something cool that seems to make a difference, but it's kind of like a catch-all. Plus, if we like come up with new things that we want to make standard, we can always we can always like decide that we're gonna like create new ones.
Right.
Hence the 4 custom fields. Oh, and I'm thinking that since you didn't take any damage from the lightning, you brushed off an attack.
Okay. So let's see. So verbal insult. Well, let me do my.
So let's see. I got you insulted the planet, you struck the planet, you brushed off an attack, and you're striking from within.
Yep.
Anything else you're doing here? You want to throw into the fiction?
I think my Blades of Bendis might be a special move.
Sure.
And I'm not doing a combo with anybody yet, so no, I think that's it.
Okay, awesome. Let's figure out the multiplier. We got 2, 2, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 2. 2, 2, 3, 2, 2. Okay, so go ahead and roll your base damage of 5d6.
16.
We got a 6. So yeah, go ahead and re-roll that 6.
Another 6.
Another 6. Roll 2d6.
And 5.
Okay, so we got 16 and 6 is 22 and another 5 is 27. And your bonus damage is going to be 1d6, 1, 2, 3d8, and 1d4. So 1d4, 1d6, and 3d8.
You said 1d8, right?
3d8. 1d6, 1d4, and 3d8.
Okay, thank you. And that is 12.
Okay. Okay. We have inflicted 10,000 hit points of damage. If we want to call this a milestone, we can move to a downtime phase. If you want to keep going, we can go against a different milestone, but this might be a good time. This might be a good time to do it.
Yeah, I'm cool on calling a downtime phase. I think that's great. Yeah.
Fantastic. So go ahead. So Equilibrium, go ahead and tell us how this attack has So go ahead and describe what this attack looks like, and also why it seems like the planet is like backing off its attacks against you for now.
I have literally sliced off a small portion of the planet that then just like starts to sort of float away into the nether, the ether, and so it roars in more in fury than in pain, because it's it's a tiny little piece of it, but it is considering its options at this point.
When you slice off this planet and send it off into the ether, are you sending it into like the mystical ethereal realm, or are you like carving it off and sending it off into space?
It's off into space.
Okay.
Probably not the wisest thing considering the planet's infected, but like whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor. I'm not that kind of doctor.
I'm a wizard, Jim, not a doctor. Okay. Well, we've hit our first milestone, and I think now that we've figured out a few things, I think things are going to probably pick up the pace a little bit as we continue. It's a few minutes after the hour, so why don't we call another 5-minute break, and we'll
can we take 10, please?
Absolutely. Let's take a 10-minute break.
Let's go 20 after, maybe.
That sounds good.
Thanks.
Come back at 20 after. Okay, we're back. So we are now in downtime. And I was misreading the rules a little bit. So yeah, we do have in the downtime. So downtime is basically take a break from players take a break from the game. And we now are having what's called the Ghosts of the Past phase, which is where we're going to figure out how did we get here? What was the because we kind of started in media res with with this big fight, and so there are a few there's a few story question prompts that we'll start posing, and so why don't we start with, since Jim and Michael didn't get a chance to act before the last beatdown phase began, why don't we start with them? So in the Ghosts of the Past phase, this is where we figure out what led up to this. Why is this goddamn planet so freaking angry? Why did it decide to kill everybody? How, et cetera, et cetera. And this is the phase where we figure that out. So it's just go around the table and ask some of the big questions from this list. Let's see. So yeah, so the big questions here, and we can certainly add to the fray. I'm just going to list the questions, and Jim, I'm going to have you I'm just going to have you pick one and answer it.
Sweet.
So the questions are: where are we? When are we? Who is here? Why are we here? What happened just before this? And what is going to happen soon? And if you want to add some other flavor questions to those, because they seem a little, those prompts seemed a little vague to me.
So where are we? I think the answer is that we are at the wound in the planet where the infected asteroid first landed. So this is, whatever scientists were, native to this world figured out that this is where it started. And we also came here to investigate, and this seemed like the logical place to, begin our assault from. But this is the initial place where that infected bit of my world first, came shearing down through the atmosphere and embedded itself, in the, the crust of this world.
Got it. So it's like this. So you're like a kind of a giant impact crater.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially, it's, like, this is like where the infection started. This is whatever, patient 0 or whatever, continent 0 or something like that of the infection of this planet.
Okay. So Michael, I will, is there any of these questions that appeal to you? And if so, go ahead and answer it, and we'll kind of, and we'll set this scene.
I'll need a repeat of the questions.
Sure. They are like, where are we? When are we? Who is here? Why are we here? What just happened? What's gonna happen next? And we could use these to inform like a flashback scene that happened a while ago. This could conceive. I mean, we could frame a scene that happened even before the actual characters got on this got on stage. This is the phase of the game where we figured out like what was the situation.
Yeah, I think what just happened is that the Overwatchers, for the first time in its existence, called for help in dealing with Ditko 9, with Planet Ditko 9, and I think it's a move that's has reverberations throughout the cosmos. In that this is the first time they've actually that this organization has actually accepted help from individual let's call them unaligned powers such as ourselves. And in fact, a lot of perhaps is it possible that a lot of what the Overwatchers' history is eliminating beings such as myself and Equilibrium, who in the big scheme of things may be viewed as destabilizing elements in universal harmony.
It's possible.
But now, yeah, justly or unjustly, but not even I think this is the first time that we've actually there's ever been. Basically, this is the universe's first great grand cosmic team up, and I think that's what just happened before that brought us here. How's that sound?
I love it.
I have a what happens next idea if you want to keep going.
I was going to say, yeah. Why don't we just kind of? I was going to say, yeah. If you and then Diane, if you want to like, if you want to like answer one at the end, and we will end this Ghosts of the Past phase. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So as a result of the asteroid striking the planet, it is now left its normal orbit and is heading for an asteroid field, which will knock other pieces off the planet, which will then go and infect untold numbers of other planets. So if we don't stop it here, we're going to have a much bigger problem on our hands.
I love it. And Diane, a question to you.
I think what happened just right before this, I think we were all on like amongst the fleet that's orbiting the planet. And like we'd all just met for the first time, and it was a lot of like who are you, what are you doing, and just very awkward sort of trying to size each other up. And as like, but then we heard there was like an alarm that went off that said like, we're seeing activity down on the planet's surface. We need to mobilize now. And so we didn't have any time to sort of do like any sort of like more than just basic introductions, and we were just sent off on our way down to the planet. And so that's where we are.
Awesome. The other thing that happens during the Ghosts of the Past phase is where the heroes reveal that they have acquired items. So you may now pick an item, or if you have an existing item, you may choose to upgrade it. And the items are specifically vague. So when you pick the selection, it's just like telling you what it is and where and like what it is and like what kind of what it does. That description box is where you can go into like personalize it. So if you take a weapon, that's what it does mechanically. But then go ahead and put in a description of what your weapon is. And once you've made your decisions, like go ahead and tell us what your what your item is that's now coming into play, and and what it looks like. I'll let whoever is ready to go first may go first.
I'll go. I have the Spell Book of Simonson, which is just a list of incredibly powerful mystic spells. You can decide.
Cool, and the book is going to add +1 to every die you roll. So with the multipliers, that's going to add up fast.
So yeah, Maven has a high-tech suit of armor. I think like at this sort of downtime phase, she like presses a button and then it sort of like spreads out over her skin and her whole body and like covers her head. Kind of, I'm trying to figure out, I mean, we've all seen it kind of in movies before, but I'm trying to find an exact reference. Probably an Iron Man type suit a little bit. And yeah, so it gives her doubles all blue power gained.
Okay, so we'll calculate how much blue power you gain, and then we'll double it. Awesome. Who would like to go next?
Yeah, as we are there, Zach says kneels and just with two fingertips, presses them down into, just a little crack there and comes up with, that kind of glowing blood. And as she stares at it, there's a glow in her chest, their chest. And they kind of, pull their, they like whatever spacesuit they were wearing, they just kind of shuck it off. And there's a like fractal crystal gem embedded in their chest where their biological heart would be if they still had one. But you can see it glowing and the light is refracting off of it, and they just kind of smear that blood against it, and it is absorbed into the crystal and it glows a little brighter. So that is going to add 1 blue power for every trigger that I use.
Nice. Does your crystal have a name?
So here's the thing. The crystal is Zaxaz. I am just a body that moves it around the cosmos.
I love it. That's fantastic.
You're a meat puppet.
And finally, Champion X.
Okay, so my item are the braces of Va-Rala, meant to be a combination of Valhalla and Shangri-La. So there are gauntlets that, or excuse me, bracers that he's been wearing all along, which contain six looks like emeralds, each of which is supposed to contain the soul essence of one of the prior champions of his martial arts school. And it's only now, for the first time, have those stones started glowing, indicating that their ghosts may be awakening for the first time in this ultimate of battles, and hopefully giving me the ability to invoke ghosts for some sweet damage modifiers in the near future.
I love it. Okay, cool. So your items are all now in play. We're going to return to the next beatdown phase. So we're set the scene. So you have traveled to you've found your way to the site of the initial asteroid impact. Let's see. I think we're going back way across, and I think Jim, you hadn't gotten a chance to do beatdown last time, so why don't we start with you? So I'm going to set the scene. So you are you're here at the site of this impact crater, and I'm going to ask you, like, what's at the center of this crater?
At the center of this crater are, I think it's, there's definitely, like zombies of the planet's inhabitants that have been infected by the blood of the planet of Ditko. They're Ditkonians who are now just husks, who are, each of them contains, Geoff used the phrase meat puppets, so they're like going about doing the, maybe they've got like vehicles. Yeah, I like this. They've got like, hovercraft and stuff like this, and we can see them, they're just like digging the contaminated, like, bits, like kind of biological looking bits, and just loading them into like vats and buckets, and then loading them onto these ships where they're going to take off and spread the contamination around the rest of the planet to make to like make it go even faster.
I love it. So you still have narrative control. What are you doing now that we see these these zombie Ditkonians that are now the slaves to the meteor?
And kind of I like float down to kind of hover above them, and I look, and as I look across them, I'm not saying anything, but my lower lip starts to quiver, and a single blue glowing tear flows from the corner of my eye to drop on the ground and sizzle, and like the soil kind of writhes away from it as if it's, something acidic has touched it. And I say, you don't deserve this fate any more than any of those who suffered it do. Don't worry, my friends, I will free you. if it is the last act that I take upon this in the cosmos, I will free you. Hold up my cosmic rod, and the tears start flowing out of my eyes into the rod and raining down on the people below as I attempt to free them from their bondage.
Awesome. So looking at the multipliers, one thing that we haven't done in the previous beatdown phase, which we can certainly do now, is the empowered multipliers cost power to use, whereas the standard ones you gain power to use.
Mm-hmm.
Those are more powerful because they cost power. If you want to just use a power that isn't, if you want to just like use a power but not like, to just like empower your attacks, that's what the generic use of power is. So that would be in addition to any of the other multipliers that you wanted to do. So if you wanted to spend power to like give you like an extra ×3 modifier, you can just spend one of any color power you want, and describe what that is. But then the others. So I'm wondering if you are summoning metaphorical ghosts of the past here.
I am summoning metaphorical ghosts here, I think is what I'm doing. So I am invoking my history, where because I'm talking about the natives of my own planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I got that. I am crying angry tears, which is just like the best thing that I love that. I think
you're using a tool because you mentioned your cosmic rod.
My cosmic rod, so I'm using a tool there. And I think this is, you know what? I'm summoning literal ghosts here because these are like the actual people of this planet. This is not like I'm invoking some memory of them. I'm literally turning these people the planet has subsumed against it. So I feel like this is literal ghosts that
You're summoning literal ghosts. Okay.
So that's going to cost me a blue. So I'm going to.
That's going to cost you a blue, but you're gaining. But you're also gaining. But you're gaining a blue from invoking your history. So that's a wash.
Mm-hmm. And
let's see. You're crying angry tears. So that's a red, and you're using a tool. So that's a green. So I think you're gaining one red and one green.
And my blue stays the same because, like you said, that's a wash. So.
Yep. And let's see. You are also, I
am gaining
because
one
of your
blue
gem.
For
you're
every trigger I use. Yes.
Yeah, you're gaining one blue for every trigger. And I think you're. Are you also invoking the cosmic code here?
Oh, yeah, I'm invoking the cosmic code. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Like it is completely against the cosmic code to take people's free will away from them like this. So, says the person who enforces the cosmic code across the cosmos, how important it is for people to have free will so that they can obey the cosmic code. That is the inherent
okay. So you got 5.
Of my role as an Overwatcher.
Got it. So you got 5. So you are hitting 5 triggers. So you get 5. So you gain 5 blue from that.
Ooh, boom. All right. Yeah.
Okay. And you're gaining 5 blue, 5 blue, a red, and a green.
Cool. And cool. So how do we? So then, what dice have I got here then?
Okay. So let's do the. So let's start with your base attack, which is still 5d6.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh wait, let me. Too many windows open. That's a problem.
Yeah. I have a 3-screen setup, so it makes it a little easier.
So I have 5d6. All right.
Yep.
Oh, and just roll that to start?
Just roll that to start.
Okay. 15.
No 6s came up, so that's
yep.
No 6s. So okay, so that's going to be 15 base. Let's see. Your bonus damage is going to be, what did we highlight? So you invoked your history for a d6. You cried angry tears for another d6. You used a tool for another d6. And you're summoning literal ghosts for a D10. So that's going to be 3d6 and 1d10.
Okay. Oh, do I have to? Oh, okay. I got to do that.
And there's also there's that line
Three,
across the top where you can
D10.
quick roll. You can just type them in there and it'll roll.
Yeah, I think you can't do different kinds of dice in that though.
Oh, I thought you could.
I don't think you can. I tried and it
Top
didn't
line? Yeah, you
didn't
can.
understand it. So so I got 19 from that.
Okay, so put another 19 in the bonus damage. And it looks like someone has figured out that that's a times 90 multiplier.
I've been trying to keep up just to make these go faster.
Fantastic.
Excellent. Sold.
So what does this look? So Zach says, what does this maneuver look like?
I mean, like I said, I kind of rise up into the air and and I hold up the cosmic rod and and it's not so much like a rain as it is like tendrils almost kind of reaching out to them and where each of them is carrying their buckets or whatever, looking up at us, they all just a slump to the ground and are what's happening, oh no, like kind of clutching their heads and wondering what's gone on and stuff like this and everything. And the distribution of this stuff just completely stops, and we feel a rumbling of the planet as it senses that we've stopped it from spreading its infection.
Love it. And Champion X, what are you doing in this scene?
All right, so let's see. Let's start with this. All right, I'd like to now. Can I spend power points in the same round that I gained them, or do I have to?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can spend and gain at the same time.
All right, great. In that case, so let's see what I can gain before I figure out which empowered multipliers I'm going to affect. So first of all, we've just recovered. Well, we've just endured a massive ecosystem lightning strike. Unlike everyone else who had, kind of missed or seems to have redirected the lightning, Champion X actually endures the brunt of them and survives, of course. Survives that brutal lightning strike. And he cries out with disdain at Ditko 9 that the so-called attack reminds me of the kisses of my fellow acolyte, who was a being composed entirely of lightning, of electrical power, of ascension electrical power. The kisses that I endured on the night that I first gave my heart to them, invoking my romantic history. And let's see.
Was that also an insult?
Yes. Yeah, basically I was just saying I've been kissed harder than what you hit me with. And let's see. Now I've also recalled that that Maven had illuminated I don't know whether it was temporarily or permanently, the ley line system of this planet.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm observing that now. I'm seeing that this is basically where all the ley lines seem to come together, as if it had, the strike of the infected asteroid had realigned the planet's, electrical nervous system, where this is like the new heart of the planet, which is very convenient. So I appreciate that combo with that combo with my
That's going to be a
buddy.
combo with Buddy. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Eraser of the brutal attack. So how many? Okay, at some point I'm definitely going to strike the planet. So let's just throw that.
Yep. So, I already
not
highlighted
gonna
that one.
Okay,
that kind of goes without saying.
Sure. Now, what are my power points at right now? Looks like 1 red. There's 1 red, 1 blue, 2 red, 1 blue.
It looks like you got 2 red, 1 blue at the moment.
I creating.
I'm sorry. That was
no.
that was already there.
Okay. Let's see. I'm not crying angry tears quite yet. A combo with a buddy. So that's 2 red, 1 green, 1 blue. I survived that brutal strike. So 3 red, 1 green, 1 blue.
3 red, 1 green, 1 blue. Yes.
Yes. Now I'm also about to.
I'm just gonna add those in now. So that was 3 red, 1. I'm sorry. That was what? 3 red, 1 green, 1 blue.
Yes. And I'm
That
about to
brings you
use my
5, 1, 2.
Okay,
I'm just going to keep the running. I'm going to keep the running total here.
Okay, you can throw in another green because I'm about to use my my bracers of fallen champions, which are glowing now, ignited by the proximity to the heart of Ditko 9.
Ah, got it. Oh yeah. So gain 1 red for every trigger you use. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's
1, 2, 3, 4. That's another 5 red that you gain.
Now that's those triggers you're talking about. The reflecting on teachings of the.
No, that's any of these moves are also moves and triggers are kind of used interchangeably. So
okay.
So every time you use one of those, you're gaining. And every time you use one of those multiplier things, that's a trigger.
Okay. Well,
so you gained another 5. So let's see. That's another. That brings you up to 10.
Delightful. Well, since we're talking about triggers, I'm gonna remember what my mentor taught me after my forbidden tryst with the electrified first love.
Okay.
And basically taught me that probably something along the lines of how love is the deadliest weapon, but some stuff like that. Because I kind of envisioned that that first union probably it gave me a massive heart attack, and I probably
got it.
So yeah, let's trigger that, and also I guess get another one trigger to go with that trigger.
Yep.
This game.
And are you using any? Are you using any? I want to spend power for.
Absolutely.
Spend power. So what are you?
11 red, 1 green, 2 blue. Okay. So first of all, I know the first thing I'm going to do is let's summon some literal ghosts.
Oh yeah, from your bracers. There you go.
Yes, the 6 fallen champion, prior champion X's come out, or solidify from the ectoplasmic mists that float from my bracers.
Love it.
Gotta do that. Let's see, what do I have now? I've got that was 1.
That's going to cost a blue. That's going to cost a blue.
Yep. So I still have. I'll go ahead and take that off. So I've still got 1 blue, 1 green, and 11 red. Yeah, let's do something with that, right? I'm gonna definitely when I strike. I'm going to use I'd also like to use a special move now that I think about it, and use the power of the ley line nexus to basically float at it. This is basically like some werefu kind of nonsense going on right now, where I'm literally floating on the.
You're like gliding on the ley line.
Yeah, upward. So that's so now I'm using a special move, which gives me another green.
Okay.
And I'm flying towards that sliver, that equilibrium sliced off that is now floating into space, which I can only imagine is pretty close to a mountain that I'm about to break.
So you're gonna grab that thing, that equilibrium, and you're gonna slam it down.
Yeah, basically.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah, I think that would count as breaking a mountain.
Yeah. So I just took the red point down for that. I've already summoned my ghosts.
So yeah, I'm seeing you're insulting the planet, invoking your history, striking the planet, special move, combo, brutal strike, break a mountain, and summon literal ghosts.
Yes, and I'm about to forgive an old enemy because one of those champions was the electrical being who almost killed me when I gave my heart to them. So that's
Okay.
spending another green. And I have a very heartfelt, dare I even shed a tear? Oh no, because I'm not going to be angry at her. I'll give that up because this is ridiculous enough as it is. And you know what? That's I feel like I'm embodying a legend, the person to bring forth the I don't know, the not prophesized but the theorized being who's basically fulfilling the summoning of the entire roster of champions,
Okay.
which was never even known to really be a thing until now. So I'm going to assume that that embodied that legend of the one. Maybe this happened once in the past, but that was always seemed to be a thing of past times and not today.
Got it. Okay, that sounds good. Let's
All right, let's get this going.
let's roll some dice. So let's do your base damage first. So 5d6.
All right, 5d6. Wait, that's I mistyped myself. 5d6. There it goes. Oh, there's a neck. There's a.
Okay, so that's 17. So go ahead and re-roll that. Re-roll that 6. 17 and 4 is 21. And we're going to do some bonus damage. Let's see. It looks like a 1, 2, 3. That's going to be 3d6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 d8. And 1, 2, and 2d10.
Did anything explode? Do D10s explode on 10s? Or is that D6s alone?
They will if that's only on the base damage for now. There's a special ability you could unlock that causes 6s regardless of the die you use. It causes 6s to explode.
Fair enough.
So that's another 54 points of damage. Wow. And with all those multipliers, this is really going to holy crap. That did 3 million hit points.
What? Oh, for real. Wow. Okay.
It was a lot of multipliers.
That was a lot of multipliers.
Thanks for indulging me, by the way, everyone.
Nope, that's fine. So you did an incredible amount of damage. This is like cataclysmic level damage. So why don't you go ahead and
we're almost halfway there.
We are.
Only just.
It's good that we did quite a lot of damage because we've only got about another hour left to play.
Right. Good point.
So why don't you go ahead and describe why don't you go ahead and tell us how you just did an incredible amount of like martial arts, mystical, waifu, cosmic level damage against the planet.
Well, it definitely involves all 7 of us now coming into formation here with a nifty animated sequence with lots of speed lines surrounding us. Where we're like basically spinning the vortex together with our, probably like our hands united, like as we deliver in unison the big punch which shatters the slice of the planet which Equilibrium had hoisted into orbit with his awesome blades of Bendis, which involve I'm sure like oodles of dialogue to cast because it's a Bendis spell. in the midst of that, I'm kind of shouting and having this cathartic coming of hearts together with my former love, which is no small task when you're hurtling up at orbital braking speeds. And I'd like to say that basically I'm kind of like shattering this mountainous fragments into that Ditko 9 had focused its lightning powers from, and from there I'll get the massive, like, continent-sized mass of rock shards basically flies along, propelled by the ley line connections that Ditko 9 had channeled, projected off its mass in order to summon the interplanet, or the storm in its own upper atmosphere, and basically like sends like this like steaming hot shard attack of debris all over the planet, kind of like following kind of like tracing the power extension back, and then to the surface, and then from there all throughout the ley line nexus. So it's kind of like the entire lattice around the planet is now just getting pelted with like all this debris, hypercharged by the chi energy that the Champions X have endowed into the deadly assault.
Wow,
So
that's
what it looks like.
That's really epic. That is really epic. It's top of the hour. So I think so let's take a break. Let's come back. We'll have another Ghosts of the Past phase, and then we should hopefully bring this fight to a close.
Cool.
So let's be back in 5 minutes. I got 3 minutes after, so back at 8 after.
8 after.
Okay, I think we're back. So Champion X just unleashed an epically cosmic amount of damage on the planet. I think I'm going to take narrative control for the current scene briefly, and that is the planet reels. There's like earthquake and rumbling, which sounds to all the world like the planet itself is screaming in agony. The ground shakes, violent earthquakes, and these like monoliths of rock suddenly like erupt up out of the ground, like around the crater and even beneath your very feet, sending the heroes like flying and tumbling and tumbling through the air. We'll consider that the planet's counterattack, and we have hit a milestone, and I think this is going to trigger another Ghosts of the Past phase. So I guess we're going to ask. I guess we're going to go. I guess we're going to ask some more. I guess we'll just go around the table. Everyone basically pick another question and answer it. Let's see if we were going in reverse order. Michael just went most recently, so Diana, why don't you go ahead and pick a question and pick a question and answer it, or if you want to come up with a different question and answer it, that is totally cool too.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna answer why are we here, and specifically for Maven, and I think to like enjoy flashback time, we get to see her working like in her workshop, like working on her tools and things like that, and I think we also see in sort of the background kind of like a TV set, but like probably like semi-futuristic and comic booky, like hologram TV set, like a news report going on about sort of like people who are like suffering on other planets and like the sort of galactic war causing like refugees, and her sort of like redoubling her desire to build machines that can make other people's lives easier, and but also like then like flashing forward a little bit to seeing like her cursing and being like, no, I don't have enough, I need more, I can't do it without this, and then like maybe yelling at some poor salesperson, not salesperson, but like, you know, sales representative being like, I'm sorry, we just don't have enough. And it's like, it's very dangerous to mine and we can't do it. And she's like, then I'll do it myself. And then we can cut there.
I love it. Thank you. Yeah, Geoff, why don't you go ahead and pick a question and answer it? Or again, and like I said, or come up with a different question that's relevant and answer it.
Yeah, I think when we were getting ready to come down to the planet, so this is like what happened before. When we were getting ready to come back down to the planet, and Overwatcher Zaxxas mentioned that like this happened before. This happened to my planet. My planet was destroyed with all life forms. What Equilibrium did was just sort of reach over to a console and find the coordinates of where that planet was, and sort of just makes a face that like he's filing this information away for later use, and then turns and we all walk towards the whatever transporter platform or something.
Fantastic. Thank you. Jim, same to you.
Yeah, I want to answer the question, when are we? And I think that kind of as we, you know, in the like the center of this solar system that we're looking at, it is like a big red, you know, glowing star that is there that is clearly old. And, you know, kind of as the, you know, camera does that thing where it like, you know, kind of pulls back from that solar system and then starts sweeping around, you know, in concentric circles towards the center of the galaxy that we're in, you can see that there are just like, you know, stars that have collapsed into super dense, dwarf stars and stuff like this. And there's a lot of like red giants that look like they're on their last legs. And, you know, kind of as we're moving in towards the center of the galaxy, there's like increasing, like just like swarms of black holes and stuff like this. And we're clearly like, the galaxy is old and maybe heading towards, you know, towards the end of things. And that, you know, who knows whether this planet's coming to life is a reaction to that, is to them trying to, you know, get some last breath out of it. Maybe the fact that element is so hard to find that Maven is looking for is because, you know, the galaxy's just dying at this point. And you know, and here we are trying to fight this fight, even though in the end it may be futile, that perhaps, you know, there's only a few million years left or something like that.
We're approaching the heat.
The heat.
We're approaching the heat death of the universe.
Yeah.
I love it. Who hasn't gone yet? Michael, I guess, why don't you go ahead and pick a question and answer it? Then we'll go to the items phase. Then we'll, I guess, return to what's probably going to be the final beatdown phase.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a question that would relate to the Ditconians. Maybe what they're like, what might have provoked the ire of what they could have done. Let's ask the question: what did they do that pissed off Planet Ditko so badly. What did the Ditconians do? Were they polluting the planet? Were they wearing it out to the point where, like, were they kind of doing, let's say this. What if there was like basically their idea was to basically exhaust the resources of the planet in order to empower their spreading into the galaxy, like throughout the galaxy. And they're fine to leave.
That's why they got that big space fleet. Yeah.
Yeah. And in fact, that's what could it have been their plans that gave Planet Ditko the idea to basically do it first. So in its plan to propel itself into the nearby asteroid field that is full of the infected ore. Like basically he learned it from watching its inhabitants. Yeah, I think that's why. Basically, it was about to get killed by these people, so he was like, "No, I'm gonna take care of you first, and then use your plane for my own propagation."
That's fantastic. Okay, so there's another items phase. People can pick another item, or you can choose to upgrade your existing item. Give folks a moment to make their decisions. Okay, looks like everyone has a new item that is now in play, and cool. Let's pick up the scene that's happening now, just as it happened. So the planet counterattacked by like a massive earth. This is like a 9 on the Richter scale earthquake, and it's causing these again cartoony, like Thundar the Barbarian-ish, like monoliths of stone suddenly like erupt out of the earth, like forming like a perimeter, like almost like a defensive perimeter around this asteroid impact site. The Ditconians that had been under the planet's control, that the Overwatcher Zaxaz had freed. They're kind of like thrown about. They're no longer under control. But I'm going to throw one more. Twist at you, and that is like approaching rapidly from the horizon is just a vast squadron of like space fighter jets that are Ditconian, but you can see, I mean, using your enhanced senses, you can see that these fighter jets are like covered with like those with like the almost the organic like those like almost biological like blue bloodlines from the planet. So these are clearly infected planes and infected pilots that are coming to presumably rain destruction down upon you. And that is how we're going to open the scene. And I think we're going to give it to Diana. So why don't you? So Maven, how are you reacting to this?
So I think with the earthquake, her sort of mech like sort of wobbles and does the like sort of almost like Star Trek like everyone shake, and then she jumps off. Yeah, she jumps off of it. The weapon she got during downtime or during Ghost of the Past was a laser sword, which she had on her person. And so I think what she does is she pulls it out, and then I'm going to spend 2 green to forge a tool of your fury, to basically create like an extra sort of like almost like battery pack for it that like makes it even more powerful. And then so like her mech is like sort of like shaky and like probably not quite functional, but she's still standing at the top of it. And as like a fighter jet comes toward her, she swings the sword and slices one of them in half. Yeah, so I think that I'm like, well, so yeah, use this forge a tool of your fury. I think that might be
Do you have a plan that you are revealing, or?
yeah, I'm trying to see. I don't think I'm revealing a plan. I think I'm just probably recovering from a blow, maybe, because the shaking off a blow, perhaps. Shaking off attack.
I think that's survive a brutal strike.
Yeah, survives a brutal strike, and striking the representatives of the planet.
Okay.
I'm like, I think the sword might have be a like part, the relic might be like a might be a relic of my power source, so I will just take that as well. And I think that's it for those. Yeah.
Well, and you forged a tool of your fury, and now you're clearly using the tool, so I'm going to give you that one.
Yeah. And I think also I think also I have when an action uses electricity as a power source, add a 2x multiplier. So that I think is also
okay.
the ability high voltage. Yeah.
Got it. And you're clearly using technology. So
yes.
Let's figure out. Okay, cool. So let's figure out the power cost / gain. So you got one. So you're getting 2 red. 2 red. You're gaining 2 red. 2 green and 1 blue.
So 2 green and 1 blue. So
yep.
That's 4.
And you also double all the blue power gained, so that goes
2.
from the 1 to 2.
Sorry, I forgot what the 4 was. Sorry.
That was 4 red.
Okay, so I will. Yeah, I think I also
and that's gonna spend 2. That's gonna spend 2 green.
Yes,
oh yeah, and you got items.
Took that out.
Okay,
yeah.
Got it. And
yep, I took the 2 green out.
Got it.
And then yeah.
And oh yeah, and your weapon doubles all red power gained. So I guess that 4 red became an 8 red.
I think this was like 3. Sorry, I accidentally trying to calculate my multipliers at the same time. So
let's brush off.
Brush off an attack is 2. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, and I unhighlighted the ones that I'd highlighted. I'm sorry, did you keep track of the ones you were, I was trying to keep track, but I accidentally just unhighlighted them, so I'm not precisely sure
I think I
ones you were
did.
doing.
Yeah, so I think I have the multipliers correct.
Okay, good.
So I will do the 5d6 now first before I forget.
Yeah, let's do the 5d6.
Okay, that's 16. And then and then bonus damage is.
Oh dear, yeah, I lost track of which ones you were using here.
1d8, 2d8,
2d8,
3d8, and then
3d8, 1d6 from using a tool. And then you were doing, I know you were forging a tool of your fury for another d10. Is there one more that you were spending on, or was that it?
I think there was also 1d4 for the I didn't spend anything else on the
Okay,
yeah, but I had also brush off an attack, so I have
got it. Okay,
1d4. Okay, so that is 23.
okay. So we'll put 23 in your bonus damage. You did 5,600 points of damage. Okay.
Yep. Still like not 3 million, but sure, that's fine.
Okay, so yeah, what does this attack look like?
So she's like facing off against one of the fighter jets that's coming towards them, and she basically manages to use her sword to take a swipe off of it, and it sort of, since it's and basically it splits in half, and then crashes into the ground, clear of everyone, just because it's split in half. And then some of her drones like jump off of her mech and then scamper towards it so that they can harvest it for material and unobtainium, for lack of, since we didn't actually give it another name.
Unobtainium works. Okay, cool. So equilibrium. You just saw Maven, take out one of these infected space fighters that was coming at you. What are you doing?
Well, when the earthquake hit and the columns sprang up, he was actually hit, and so he sort of like pinned to the rising column, and then rolls off and says, "Simple sphere, had my master Mantlo not prepared me for the likes of you, I might be thwarted. However, you have not counted on the souls of your victims." And he goes up like this and shoots an impossibly fast sort of series of hands that arc across the galaxy to where Zaxaz's planet used to be, and each of the hands grabs the soul of a departed person from that planet, and they come roaring back towards us, and they feed into the what are they? Grell's ghastly gauntlets, which are the gloves that he has, and he then just like pulls down a strike filled with soul fury to the planet. So
I'm seeing that you have invoked your history.
Yep.
You're striking the planet.
Yep.
I think you were consulting a relic of your power source by consulting the gloves.
I'd like to count it as a combo with my buddy, because I set that up with my knowing where the planet was.
I will absolutely give that to you.
So
and you survived the brutal strike by getting smashed by the pinnacles.
Yep.
You are spending a power to summon literal ghosts.
Yep. And I'm forging a tool of fury with the gauntlets.
Okay, so it's going to cost 2 green and 1 blue, but you are gaining 2. You're gaining 2 blue. You're gaining 2 blue, 2 red, and a green.
Okay. All right. That puts me at 6.
Plus you're calling on mystic power, so that's also another red.
Yeah.
And you also gain 1 red for every trigger you used, so that was an additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's an additional 8 red.
Okay. Light, 15, and
And I think that's gonna do it. Let's let's roll your base damage.
Oh, did you count in the gloves, the clenched fists, gain 1 red power for every trigger you use?
Yeah, that was the additional 8 that I said.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so the multipliers.
Oh yeah, let's figure out the multipliers. Like 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, I got the multipliers.
Oh, you got that?
Don't worry
Okay,
about it.
awesome, cool.
You just need to count the dice now.
Got it. Oh,
Okay,
thanks, Diana.
thank you.
So yeah, go ahead and do the 5d6 for your base attack, and we'll do that plus
Okay.
any
And
plus
I
any
add
explodings.
+1 to all dice that I roll.
Okay,
So
so this is going to be 5d6 plus 1,
plus 1.
or 5d6 plus 5.
Yeah, okay. 19.
Okay, no 6s came up, so that's going to be 19 base.
And then
And your bonus dice are 1d6, 1, 2, 3, 4d8, and 2d10.
and I think so, like 3d6, no? Invoking history.
Invoking
verbal
history.
insulting,
Oh, you insulted the planet. I forgot about that one.
and then striking from above.
Oh, that's true. I didn't include that one either.
Okay. So I'm sorry. So 3d6.
3d6, 1, 2, 3d6, 4d8, and 2d10. Plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus 9.
38.
Okay, that did 300. That did more than 250,000 hit points of damage.
Interesting. Why is my, oh, I see. He had 51,000 multiplier. Damn.
Yeah, he had a 51,000 multiplier.
Okay.
Do we have all these in? 2, 2, 2, 3. 2, 2, 2, 3.
I was trying to keep up, so if I
4,
missed
3,
one, I'm
2,
sorry.
5. 4, 3, 2, 5, 4. 4, 3. Oh, there's an. I think we missed a 2, so I'm going to put a 2 in there. Oop. What did I do?
It's too high.
No, I had
It's
my
gonna be a-
insert and I had my cursor in the wrong place. There we go. Okay, so that doubled it. So you did like 650,000 hit points. Cool. So what does this attack look like?
The souls come down pure white. They feed into my gloves, which are red, and slash down in a sort of a pink, like the color of frothy blood, just showering into the planet.
Fantastic. So Jim, what is Overwatcher Zaxaz? What are they going to do?
Has the fleet has the fleet been destroyed, or is it still?
The fleet is like, the fleet is in like extreme orbit right now, so it's still there. But it's sufficient.
Like these fighters that were approaching.
The fighter jets. Yeah, I was going to say there's still like a I'm going to say Maven cut one in half, and I'm going to say that maneuver caused them to like break away.
Sure.
I'm going to say that while they broke away, probably they fired a bunch of missiles at you that are kind of exploding around you. But they've like circled around and they're coming back for another pass.
Got it. So I kind of rise up and I hold up my staff and I say, you are an infection, but an infection always has antibodies. You may think that I'm a being sent here, but no, I am inoculation for this place and all who live here. You will destroy me, but in so doing, you'll plant the seeds of your undoing as the shards of my crystal give your people the ability to fight back. And like, as the missiles come towards me, I just drop my force field and the missiles strike me and my heart explodes into millions of two-dimensional shards that like just go right through the planet because they've got no third dimension that they can be stopped by, and expand fractally, and like one, tiny shard of crystal, hits everyone still left on the planet. So I'm going to.
You're clearly getting killed.
I'm getting killed because that's a thing you can do. So I've got my base attack. I'm getting killed. I revealed my plan for how I'm gonna take this thing out. I am. I'm involving a shape that cannot exist in conventional three-dimensional space. My two-dimensional fractal antibodies. What else? And so the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take, let's see, I'm going to take all 8 blue and all 3 green and pump 11 points into mooks.
Okay. So let's see. So I just want to make sure that we're on the same page for the triggers you're doing. You insulted the planet.
Mm-hmm.
You invoked your history.
Mm-hmm.
You struck the planet.
Mm-hmm.
You can. I think using this, you're clearly consulting a relic of your power source.
Sure. Yeah.
Were there any others from that column that I'm?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. And for the empowered, you're clearly getting killed. Was there another one that you said?
I'm revealing my plan.
You're revealing your plan. Yes. Okay.
And then my impossible geometry's ability is another ×5 multiplier for invoking a shape that can't exist in three-dimensional space.
Got it. Okay.
So we've got that.
How much mooks did you use?
What's that?
How much power did you use on mooks?
11.
Okay.
So I'm going to pump, and I gain 2 blue for every trigger because I upgraded my fractal jewel. I think we can just count the triggers by.
Mooks deal 1 damage per player action, but that damage doubles for every point of power that you spent on them.
I sure do.
Okay, so I guess so go ahead and let's roll your base damage here.
Cool. What do I got?
So your base damage is 5d6.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. We start with that. Okay. 15 with no 6s.
Okay. And let's see, what did we have for bonus dice? 1 2d6, 1 2d8, 1d10, 1d12.
think that's everything, right?
Yeah. And then in addition to that, there's going to be what you spent on mooks.
Roll that. That's 35,
35
with 1 6 on a d6.
Yeah, this is with the this is the bonus damage. You haven't taken the
okay.
ability that lets your bonus
Got
damage
it. You only
explode
get
yet.
it on the base dice. Okay.
So that's 35. And you also, let's see, and 1 damage die per player action. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that was 6. That was 7. That was 7 actions you took, as far as I can tell. So that's 7, but you spent 11. But you spent 11 points.
So that's 2 to the 11th, which I believe is 2048.
So I'm just gonna put that in. Oh yeah, well that's also gonna get multiplied. So that's gonna be 15 plus 2048.
2048. Yeah.
Oh, I need an equal sign.
Holy shit.
Okay, so you did.
Oh no, we're not. 5 million.
Yeah, you did like 5 million. So yeah, that did like 5 million points of damage. And you know what? Let's see. You know, we're running out of time we're running out of time, and B, I think Overwatcher Zaxaz sacrificing themselves. And you know, we're basically one more.
It's a good climactic moment. Yeah.
This is a good climactic moment, and we're pretty damn close. So, yeah, you have kicked the planet's ass. So why don't we go around and so like you just sacrificed yourself. So like, so what did it look like? So we're like, you know, toward the you know, this is like the 2-page spread of the comic.
Yeah, it's just like all over the world we see. I like the idea that it's one of these things where it's like split into like 64 little panels, right? And we see faces of all the different people all around the world, and one by one their eyes light up, you know, with a little blue glow in it, like that, you know, and all of them, you know, kneel down and put their hands on to the ground, and their life force kind of combines, and we see it sort of crackling around the planet, sort of forming a halo of this energy, like making its own little like spider web network that kind of crosses those ley lines of the planet.
I love it, and yeah, I love it. You have so the Overwatchers sacrifices has freed them. I'm going to say that in reaction, the you know, the Earth shakes again, and the planet's like crust kind of like pulls away from this like glowing like sickly greenish blue glowing meteorite that was in the center of the
HR Giger thing. Yeah, in the center.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's like biomechanical. It looks like just wrong in every sense of the word. And Maven, this thing is totally made of that material that you utterly needed. The color out of space, yes. So why don't we just kind of like go around and just do a quick like epilogue to like wrap up this comic, and you know, possibly set a little scene for the next issue if that ever happens. So Maven, what does Maven do here?
I think her epilogue is kind of you just see her like overlooking the sort of vast sort of empty desert, but like that has like little blobs of like the infection still kind of there, and you see her like her machine sort of like cleaning it up, like going around and like around each one and just harvesting it as she like stands there with like a map, like one of those like old timey sort of explorer, like sort of without the colonialism, of course, and like she has a map there and she's pointing at like certain things or like a blueprint, and she's slowly collecting all of it, and she has a big smile on her face.
Your drones just kind of like go off to get them. I love it.
Yes,
I love it.
Yeah. Yep.
Michael, what is Champion X? So what's Champion X's like epilogue panel?
Since they haven't gotten to be an asshole yet, I think Champion X sees the summoned ghosts of the fallen of the Overwatcher's fallen planet, and realizes there's a whole new arena of potential challengers to test their mettle. So they're just basically going to fight, take them all on in fights, any comers. And I don't know how the Overwatcher feels about that, but yeah, this is really just like another, like the next round of
So
the
you're
ongoing.
Like, so I kind of almost see like Champion X like seeing these and deciding to like phase into the spirit realm to like have like a giant slugfest. Is that sort of it, or?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Love it.
Hopefully that's not too distasteful to I don't know if you have any loved one, like any closely related loved ones here but anyway, he's that's what's happening.
Fantastic. Geoff, what's Equilibrium's final panel?
Equilibrium reveals his cosmic scales and summons up all of the dead life force energy of anybody who doesn't want to try and kick ass, and brings them back to be judged by the cosmic scales, and then flies off into the distance.
Fantastic. And Jim, is there any? Do we want to like do anything to hint that Zaxaz isn't quite totally dead, or not? I'll leave that up to you.
I think Zaxaz is dead, but to the extent that there is any kind of an epilogue for Zaxaz, it is in a orbiting a twin neutron stars. There is a gigantic crystalline structure, maybe a ring world, right, that is around this thing, and there's just two wicked alien-looking beings, one of which like the entire top of their head where the brain pan would be is a big blue crystal, and the other one, like its like entire torso is blue crystal. Looks at the other and says, "It is done, hopefully for the last time." And the other one nods, and he reaches out to there's like a holographic orrery or something like that, and there's a little red dot floating there, and he just taps it and it turns blue. But we can see that there are other little red dots floating around in this map that they have in front of them.
I love it. That's fantastic. That's a great panel to end on. Folks, this was fantastic. I really enjoyed this. We've got just a couple of minutes left. I like to do a really quick debrief of like stars and wishes. There's not going to be another session of this, so there's not really a whole much of wishes. So if anyone wants to make comments about the game itself, cool. I'm just going to do, and stars are like, things we just want to call out for other players. I'm just going to do a really general one. I loved all of these characters. I think everyone I think everyone just did a great job. I would 100% want to read this comic book. Michael, I love your descriptions of Champion X and how he's doing all the fighting. Jim, I just got so much of the of like, you know, of like a like either a Marvel or a DC like cosmic hero vibe from Zach Says. I thought that was just phenomenal. Equilibrium, yeah, Geoff, thanks. I thought this was a great homage to Doctor Strange, and I was doing all the cool magic stuff. And Diana, great job with Maven. I really liked the character. I think I got a really good picture of I got a really good description. I got a really good mental picture of how she worked. So thanks everyone. This is a blast. If anyone else would like to call out anything, now would be the time.
I dug Geoff. I really I enjoyed your the references to all the comic book creators. That you know, especially since it was a clever way. I mean, it was fun. It was also a clever way to kind of like add a little flavor to a magic system, which you're basically creating from scratch in this game. Maven, I liked how Maven visualized all the inventions of the technology that he came up with, and I dug that you had worked your quest for ore into the kind of the heart of the threat. That was cool. Jim, I feel like adding the Green Lantern core just really like was a great backbone for building this galaxy around. And yeah, I thought it was a very fun game, and you know, crazy broken, but in the best way. And appreciate getting to play it.
Yeah, Diana and Mike, thank you for keeping track of the math, because I was not capable of keeping up with that myself.
Yeah, I know we're not doing wishes, but I'm like, I feel like we should have, like, I think in the future, for future games, like having one person assigned to keep track of like one stat, so that just to like one person responsible for keeping track of the power gain, like one person is responsible for the multiplier, one person is responsible for whatever dice, and like I think that would speed up rounds.
That is a super good idea. If and when I play this game again, I will 100% do that. And thanks again for keeping track of the multipliers and for keeping me straight on and for alerting me to the notice that they did update that based on like after the printed version that I had.
Yeah.
The problem is though that they say that in the text, but then because I'm looking at the most recent download of it right now as well.
Yeah.
But in the example of play, they do it the other way. Oh
no. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to read that part yet. So
it's not a well-designed game. It's I get it as a like it was like the concept and stuff was fun, but it's not. It's clearly like he didn't particularly give a shit whether it's actually playable as presented.
Yeah, I think that is
which is a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to give that feedback to the designer that I think some of the rules need to be tightened up, and obviously you need to, if you're going to play this game at all, you need to have it with a spreadsheet open, because there's absolutely no way to play this game even with a calculator. It wouldn't even work with a calculator. You need a spreadsheet to play this game to do all the calculations.
And the other thing that is confusing to me is they talk about rolling thousands and thousands of dice,
and you don't.
And you
roll
a handful, and
you roll a handful of dice, and then you multiply it.
Yeah, which I guess is so. I had wondered whether we had misread it, and the multipliers were not. And maybe it might be fun to try this as a variant, since you can do this with online dice rollers.
Yeah.
Rather than have the multiplier be you roll it and then multiply, you multiply the dice that you're
Dice.
rolling.
Yeah, that might.
Because then,
what it
like,
is.
you know, if your multiplier is 2,500 and you're rolling 2,500 8-siders, that's
Yeah.
kind of cool. I mean, it's like over that number, it's going to average out to whatever, 4.5
Basically
times.
be the same, yeah.
4.5 times whatever that multiplier is. But
Yeah.
you know, but every now and then you'll get you'll average out
Yeah.
6 times that multiplier or something like that. So, but
Yeah.
I loved everybody's, but the fact that we were able to take a moment, look at the rules, have a conversation like that about that, like adults, settle on it, and then just play was perfect. That's like Gauntlet play culture right there.
I was just going to say that is Gauntlet
to
play
see that
culture
happen.
in a nutshell.
So that was great. And Diana, big props to you for being willing to, even though you're new, jump in and say, "Hey, I think that's wrong. Let's figure it out." And
Yeah.
so good for you for especially after we were all like, "Oh, we all know each other," and blah blah blah, and like that kind of crap. So thank you for doing that. That's very cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I want to give a star to when Geoff asked if anybody had reflective armor, you just jumped in and you write, "Oh yeah, not only that, but my Spider Girl thing that I'm riding around, you can bounce stuff off of that all day and everything." And so the like just everybody was like right there with the collaboration, but that in particular kind of set the tone for everything. And I really appreciated that. That was very, very cool. Yeah. So thank you. And that's
100%.
Everybody was super fun. Mike, Michael, your enthusiasm for just basically creating a character whose whole thing was punching planets was like, oh, you put martial arts out there. I got to figure out a way to do that and stuff and everything. And Geoff, you're invoking Bill Mantlo, the worst comic writer of all time. Was I deeply appreciated that. So that's his. Somewhere Rom Space Knight is smiling at that. So thank you for that.
Well, if there are no other comments, thank you. I had a blast playing this. I really, really enjoyed this. This was a whole lot of fun. Before we end this, is it okay if is it okay here if I post this video?
Let's go right ahead. Yep.
Okay, I'm getting an enthusiastic yes from everybody, so I'm going to go ahead and post this. It'll be on the, and I'll mention it on the, so it'll go out on the Gauntlet video roundup. I'll post it on my YouTube channel. So thank you, everyone. This was a great game. I had a blast. And I really hope I get a chance to play with all of you at some point in the future. Thanks again, and have a great rest of afternoon, and have a great rest of GCOG. Take care, folks.
Yeah, thanks again, everyone.
Thanks, folks.